Heroes, the most popular occupation in the world of My Hero Academia, where brave individuals daily risk their lives for the safety of the weak and the protection of peace. Heroes have many different roles which mainly depend on their supernatural ability, also known as their quirk, which can also be described as one superpower. There are many different versatile quirks for all sorts of situations, like the ability to shoot tape out of your elbows, creating explosions with your nitro glitter and sweat, controlling zero gravity, shooting a big ass laser from your belly button, or just having sticky bowels. Yes, hello everybody, my name is Kamtaro and welcome to a different kind of character analysis about the misunderstood pervert of Class 1A, Minoru Mineta. In this video, I'm going to debunk the misconceptions about Mineta's purpose in the series, as well as analyze his ideals and goals, for the purpose of explaining why he's the most misunderstood character in all of My Hero Academia. This is gonna take a bit of your time, so sit back, relax, grab a snack, and enjoy. So, who exactly is Minoru Mineta? Well, if you don't know him, why did you click on this video? Minoru Mineta is one of the freshman students of UA High's Hero course in Class 1A, and is a classmate to the protagonist of the series, Izuku Midoriya. In fact, he sits right behind him. When first shown, Mineta was 15 years old, but as of chapter 331 in the manga, he is 16. His height is 1.08 centimeters, or 3 feet 6.5 inches. Man, who cares about all that useless info? He's the class's pervert. Yes, Mineta is that one character that people either like, adore, or absolutely hate. Most people in the West are sensitive when it comes to Mineta's behavior, due to him being interested in girls in a more passionate way compared to his peers. And due to that behavior, the My Hero Academia fandom is split up in two, with the sides being people who like/don't mind Mineta, and those who just despise him and want him out of the series because, apparently, the series would be much better without him. As if it would change anything. Fans have expressed that Mineta is the most useless, weakest, dumbest, and most irrelevant character in Class 1A with no real purpose or something to go for himself. If any character was to be replaced, it would be Mineta. Mineta is the worst, the most disgusting character in all of anime! I hate him! Those people probably don't watch a lot of anime or aren't that well educated when it comes to other anime characters, but we will get to that later. With all those bad... Oh, fuck. Okay, sorry. My bad. With all those different opinions about Mineta, he is seen by most as a no-good, perverted character that only wants to touch and sexually harass girls, which has no point in existing. This has turned Mineta as one of the most unpopular characters in My Hero Academia. Sadly. So, with that info down about the character of Mineta, what can be said that might change one's opinion about him? Well, I'm glad you asked. I wrote down some notes that I decided to call facts and... oh. I can't read. Let's kick things off with this. Everything in the world has two sides, a good one and a bad one, with the same thing going for people. I myself ain't a saint, nobody is, and nobody ever will just be good or bad. We all need this balance in our life. Mineta, despite all the bad he has done in the series, has some pretty good qualities that other students in his class don't have or can't reach. These are Mineta's stats from the Ultra Archive databook, those being 1 out of 5 in power, 1 out of 5 in speed, 4 out of 5 in technique, 5 out of 5 in intelligence, and 4 out of 5 in cooperativeness. Those stats are impressive for a support hero like him, but let's take a look at his stats from the Ultra Analysis databook. 1 out of 6 in power, 4 out of 6 in speed, 5 out of 6 in technique, 5 out of 6 in intelligence, and 1 out of 6 in common sense. That last one is an obvious meme. Every character in Ultra Analysis has a meme statistic. Hell, Shigaraki has 6 out of 6 hands, so the claim, haha, 1 out of 6 in common sense, I told you Mineta sucks, is wrong. The jump on Mineta's speed from Ultra Archive to Ultra Analysis is massive, 3 whole points! For someone his size, that's like 11.5 All Mights to Gigantomachia. But let's not focus on that, but instead, let's talk about Mineta's technique, intelligence, and cooperativeness. Technique! In almost every single situation that Mineta has been in, he has shown to be smart enough to overcome his boundaries, like how he uses his balls as trampolines to get around since they don't stick on him, or using them as a way to climb over a wall. Those are very efficient and smart ways to use his quirk. Midoriya himself has stated that Pop-Off, Mineta's quirk, is very powerful, and if you think about it from a support hero point of view, he's not wrong. Mineta's skills are that good that he got the attention of the lurkers, which means that he might enter with them in the future. How is that not amazing? The fact that everything and everyone can be immobilized by just touching his balls to any surface there is, no matter if it's flat or bumpy, and he can use those same balls as a way to climb up obstacles, bounce off of them, or use them as a weapon or a shield, shown by Mineta's beat-like whip and the Great Buckler. How can people call this quirk useless? If anything, this quirk is perfect for when it comes to defense and support. Sure, it can melt things and it can cause earthquakes, but not every quirk is meant to be a means of offense. Mandalay, the leader of the Wah Wah Pussycats, has a quirk that is purely for support, that being telepathy, but she has implemented it in a way that she can distract her opponents by talking inside their head. That is such a smart way to use telepathy. Fun fact, Tora is transsexual, look it up. Intelligence! As previously stated, Mineta is not stupid. He might act silly, but that doesn't make him stupid. That behavior purely exists for comedy reasons. In chapter 60 of the manga, or episode 34 of the anime, Class 1A had to write their midterm exams, to which Mineta was ranked 9th out of 20, scoring above average in his whole class. Not only did he do well, but he also flexed his big brain to Ashiro and Kaminari, who were at the bottom of the barrel. Dude quite literally went, "You do math like a bitch." Despite not having the power to fight his opponents face to face, Mineta's brain and knowledge about heroes allow him to use his already powerful toolkit to his advantage by tricking the enemy and then immobilizing them, like how he did with Midnight. The fact that Mineta was able to bring Midnight down to her knees, not in that way you fucking weirdo, by just tricking her, despite being weaker than her, is more than impressive in my opinion. Cooperativeness! You already saw the stats from both Ultra Archive and Ultra Analysis, so this one's no-brainer. Mineta is super cooperative when it comes to hero work, with a prime example being Chapter 15 or Episode 10, where Midoriya, Mineta, and Asui
I told you to call me Sue.
Shut up! Managed to escape from a ship that was cut in half, and stopping the villains that were trying to kill them. But thankfully, the trio managed to come out victorious. Chapters 209 to 216, or episodes 97 to 100, was when the 5th and final round of the Class 1A vs Class 1B joint training was taking place. The main attraction was obviously Midoriya, unlocking one of his 7 quirks, specifically the 5th successor's quirk, Black Whip. Mineta was with Ashido this whole time, the two trying to fight off against Yanagi, Kodai, and Shoda, as Midoriya and Uraraka had to deal with Monoma and Shinso. 3 versus 2 everybody, and they still lost! Uraraka came to the rescue after locking Monoma up, and then it became fair. In the meantime though, Mineta supported and saved both Ashido's and his own butt with a Great Buckler, got a feel of those acid tits on his face, and then they unleashed their super combo, Great Pinky Combo, Mineta Bounce! And yeah, Uraraka immobilized Kodai thanks to Mineta's balls on a pole. Woo. Now I don't know about you, but when I look at Mineta, I see Horikoshi-sensei in him. How? I mean, look at them! I can tell the difference between them! If we take a look at Mineta's manga profile over here, we can clearly see why Mineta acts the way he does and how he passed the entrance exam. A character who's relatively solidified since the initial design phase. I myself am quite dirty, so drawing him is fun. But there are people who don't like pervert characters that much, so it's hard finding that balance. I've received a number of letters asking how on earth he managed to pass the entrance exam. So, I'll take this chance to explain it. First, as Shizuku himself said, his quirk is actually quite strong. And remember that the rules of the entrance exam was to immobilize or render the villain bots unable to function anymore, not necessarily to destroy them. As such, you could trap them against the walls, or stick them to the ground, or even plug up their muzzles to earn points. It's just that in a real battle, plucking and throwing his balls is far too easy to read, and basically his only move. And so he can't clinch an attack, so it's hopelessly difficult. Or so he thinks. As you can clearly see, that was the inspiration for Mineta's perverted personality. Horikoshi-sensei himself. He even states that he struggles to find a balance between Mineta's perversion, since not many people enjoy pervy characters like him. But to be honest, if Mineta was actually good looking, people would not mind him being perverted. I'm more than sure in that statement. In fact, here's something to support that. In the first Japanese popularity poll, Mineta was ranked in the 18th place, surpassing characters such as Tomura Shigaraki, Toru Hagakure, and Mei Hatsume. However, in the first US popularity poll, Mineta was tied with Shigaraki at 17th place, surpassing... Oh wow. You guys did this and now you're bitching over the balls, kid? Obviously, in the second Japanese poll, Mineta dropped down to 31st, and in the third poll, he was ranked 45th. Goes to show how close-minded people are. But despite it all, Mineta has shown big signs of character development from very early in the series, signs that have changed Mineta's character. Mineta's original goal was to become a hero so he could get girls, because he thought that being a hero makes someone cool. But then, he realized that it's the opposite. People become heroes because they are cool. The inspiration for that was Midoriya, who despite his fear and chance of getting hurt or even dying, he would clench his fist and do his best to save those he cares for. We see those signs of determination to become better all over the series, from when he made that remark to present day. In fact, this part of the video contains spoilers for Season 6 Part 2, which as of now has not been animated yet. If you don't care about spoilers, move along. But if you don't want to get spoiled, then skip right here. I'll be giving you 3 seconds to stop the video and skip. 3, 2, 1. I gave you 5 seconds. In chapter 321, Deku Black, yes, that is the name of this damn abomination, was trying to run away from Class 1A, despite them trying to stop him and take him back to UA. In a panel, Mineta used a new super move, the Mineta Beats Tenfold, to latch on Midoriya, who was floating away. In that panel, Mineta states, and I quote, "I never thought it was your power that made you awesome. I fell for you when you were scared and sweating buckets and quaking in your boots, back when we found a path forward together, the way you were back then." End quote. The words Mineta used for this panel were translated in such a weird way that fans assumed that Mineta was actually bisexual. The little mongrel's name was trending on Twitter because of that, with 100,000 tweets. But in the end, no. Mineta wasn't confessing his romantic feelings to Midoriya, but instead was stating that he preferred him back when they all worked together to save themselves. The "I fell for you" part is a saying in Japan which guys usually use when they respect one another, like, "I admire you, bro," or something like that. If you want to find out more about this, I will leave a link in the description about the literal translation of that line. Shout out to @ITaiKimochi on Twitter for making that thread and clearing out this mess. This whole panel was to show that Midoriya's action and way of thinking had an impact on Mineta, that his cowardly yet heroic personality was what he loved about All Might's successor. So seeing him in such a mess, denying everyone and everything, despite them all being able to work together to get out of this mess like how they had done before. This wasn't the Midoriya he knew, not the Midoriya he wanted. So of course he had to try and bring him back to his senses. End of spoilers. You know, sometimes I like looking back into the past, especially when I said, those people probably don't watch a lot of anime or aren't that well educated when it comes to other anime characters. But we'll get to that later. Fun times, yeah? So, you still think that Mineta is the worst character in all of anime due to his perverted personality? Well, let me introduce you to two grandpas and two other dudes. Let's get this party started, lads. Master Roshi, Master Jiraiya, Issei Hyodo, and Meliodas. Do I need to really explain what they've done? Roshi and Jiraiya are major characters in Dragon Ball and Naruto, with Roshi being one of Goku's teachers and Jiraiya being one of Naruto's. Their knowledge in martial arts and life in general is what made them be respected by characters among both series. However, they both have the word pervert written all over them. Both Roshi and Jiraiya would show obvious signs of the "I have no bitches" syndrome, so they would get freaky, detailed, and really weird with women of many different ages. In episode 3 of Dragon Ball, Roshi made a teenage Bulma show him her underwear for a reward, to which he coincidentally got more than what he asked for, since Bulma didn't know that she wasn't wearing panties. No comment. Jiraiya almost instantly approved of training Naruto after he showed him his Oryoke no Jutsu, aka his sexy jutsu, turning Naruto into an older female version of himself. Despite that Jiraiya knew that Naruto, who at the time was 12 years old, was behind the jutsu, he just decided to simp over this imaginary girl. These were mere examples. There are a lot of situations where both have acted out of pocket. Like, a lot. Now, when it comes to Issei, I guess he's sort of excused, mainly because High School DxD was always known to be a very lewd anime. But my god, this guy is weird! The self-proclaimed Harem King, a 17-year-old second-year high school student who had sex on the first episode of his series and has other nicknames such as Breast Dragon Emperor, Opie Dragon, Perv in the dub, Horny Moron, and my favorite, Red Dragon Emperor Perv Deluxe. We can't forget about his motivating quotes too.
I'm going to become a harem king! When you're grabbing boobs, you're grabbing life!
Meliodas. Mr. Wrath himself, the oldest son of the Demon King, the master of the full counter, the guy that doesn't know when to stop! Meliodas has been sexually assaulting Elizabeth both in private and in public for all those 3,000 years that they've been together, apparently. Her physique is 16, which is still very weird. To those saying that it's consensual, try to imagine a husband doing that to his wife almost every time they are together. See how much you'll enjoy that. Unless he's a weirdo as well, in that case you're fine. I'm not an expert when it comes to the 7 deadly sins, I barely know anything in fact. To the fans of the series, I commend you for sitting through this hell. Yeah, that's right, fuck you, Merlin. Despite their perverted and creepy natures though, those guys have more than just perversion in their head. Issei and Meliodas are protagonists with their own goals and ideals, as well as a purpose that must be fulfilled. They're good looking as well, so that's why most people are overlooking their perversion. Roshi and Jiraiya, despite being old men, are also overlooked, mainly because they were the ones that taught two of the greatest anime characters how to fight and how to live a very happy life. Roshi is still alive and kicking, since he still does pack a punch despite his age. Jiraiya sacrificed himself in order for others to live on. His death wasn't in vain. But, this is where we get to the dark avenue. What do I mean by that? School days. Makoto Ito. Wait, I'm going too fast. School Days is an adult anime-styled visual novel developed by Overflow, released on April 28, 2005 in Japan for PC and later ported to the PlayStation 2 and the PSP. A remaster was released on October 8, 2010 in Japan for the PC again, with it being localized and brought to North America on June 27, 2012. Due to the many different routes and endings, as well as the compelling story, the game was the best-selling visual novel for quite some time. With its success, 2 spin-offs and a parallel story were brought into existence, along with an anime adaptation in 2007 that had its own story and ending, plus 2 OVA episodes. The story follows Makoto Ito during his second term, who began taking notice of that one girl that will ride the train along with him to school every morning, Konoha Katsura. A sudden sea change occurred in his homeroom class, which is how he met Sekai Sayonji. Sekai finds out that Makoto likes Konoha, so she becomes Makoto's wingwoman, so he could get with her, like how a normal person does when you first meet them. Throughout the story, more characters appear and befriend Makoto, and depending on the player's actions, there are certain events that can happen. So yeah, that's all fun and games, but why are you talking about this, Cam?
Sex.
Yeah, that is something that can happen too, with not 1, not 2, not even 3, but almost all of the female characters. That can only occur if you follow specific routes, so it's not guaranteed to happen in everyone's playthrough. Depending on your actions, you can determine to be a sweet and caring boyfriend who is dedicated to one woman in his life, or just some of the girls, no biggie.
Are you kidding me?
Why is that even an option? In the game, there are a lot of bad crap that you can make Makoto do. This one is the worst! From betraying your friends, cheating, and having affairs to this? It's no wonder people hate this guy. There's a lot of endings throughout the original visual novel and the parallel story, which most of them do not seem like a very good time. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to go and take a look at all the different endings. Be warned though, that shit is cursed and it can trigger you. And with that, my hero fans, tell me, how is Mineta still the worst character in all of anime? Why? Want me to name more bad anime characters?
Fine! Danzo Shimura, Naruto Shippuden, Multi-Metal Mech, The Rising of the Shield Hero, Haruki Suzumiya, The Melancholy of Haruki Suzumiya.
That one is a hot take.
Not Shinji Ikari, Neon Genesis Evangelion, Sho Tucker, Full Metal Alchemist, Yukitaro Amano, Mirai Nikki! I get it, Mineta is not the best of characters. Yes, he can come out as a creep, and yes, he might not have the best of goals. But how can we compare him to the actual worst characters in all of anime when he's not even close to that? At the end of the day, Mineta is a comic relief background character. A joke, if you may. Gotenks from Dragon Ball Z is also considered a comic relief character due to his cocky yet childish personality and the fact that he did things that he couldn't normally do. Just because he wanted to. The dude skipped Super Saiyan 2 and went straight to Super Saiyan 3 in just mere seconds. Not just that, but in Super Saiyan alone, he spat out ghosts from his mouth. Gotenks in the history of Never has accomplished absolutely nothing and is just a throwaway character. The minimal appearances that he's done are of him being a clown. Phew.
Fuck, I need to cool down.
People might not like or enjoy Mineta, and that's fine, but before making false statements about a character that you don't like, remember that there are people that actually do like him. So, don't ruin it for those people. In fact, I'll say it, I don't like Toga. Her twisted look in reality and addiction to blood make me uncomfortable, but I respect those who like her. I guess she's kind of cute when she's not cutting someone's throat open, but I prefer girls that don't have a criminal record or the desire to kill others. That's just me though. At least I'm not like Mirio, who looks as if he's about to punch the literal shit out of an 8-year-old girl, right?